This is the Metal Bar with Riccardo Ball, and joining us from Downfall of Humanity is Bryce Patten. G'day, Bryce. How you doing?
G'day, Riccardo. I'm good. How's it going?
Yeah, good, man. Good. A new EP about to be unleashed upon all our ears called Deceit. How long have you guys been working on this?
A while. Actually, the last time I did an interview with you, I was all cryptic and saying, oh, keep your eye out in November 2020, because you'll be seeing some big things coming out. That's when it was supposed to come out. But you know what happened? COVID did the COVID thing.
Yeah.
And so basically COVID delayed our ability to record last year, but it didn't stop us from going on tour. We then recorded it in the beginning of this year, like the end of it, and it's all mixed and mastered, and obviously it's ready to go. And now COVID is threatening our ability to tour it this year. So yeah, that's the story at the moment.
Yeah, no, and now, I mean, given that it was ready to, well, you know, from a writing angle, it was ready to be recorded nearly a year ago. And then you got to sit and play with those songs for a while before you could actually go in the studio. How much tinkering did you do? Did you do much rewriting? Did something new come out that wasn't going to be on the EP that now is?
Well, what it actually gave us, because we were planning to record in studio with Zoran, who's mixed it, Zoran Mendonça, but because we got coded out of that, I ended up recording it myself, which is what we've done on the previous records. You know, I've recorded the stuff and then given it to someone to mix and master. So instead of going to his studio, which is what I would have liked to do, I ended up tracking everything, which is a lot of work, but it does kind of allow me to put the producer hat on. And I guess for vocals in particular, I spent quite a lot of time with Daniel, and we worked on the melodies and, you know, tinkering with the lyrics, and yeah, definitely tweaking some of the vocal stuff to, yeah, I think squeeze just a little bit more cool stuff out.
Yeah, I mean, have you been, obviously with your producer hat on, you crack the whip a wee bit, but in general, it feels like what I've heard on this EP is a big step up vocally from what I've heard previously. It sounds like Daniel's more in control of what he's doing. He's delivering it more, I would say, with more authority, and it's more consistent, and it's more dynamic as well.
Yeah, he's definitely really kind of finding his sound. You know, as I was saying, he's sounding really, really good now. So yeah, I'm pleased to have that on record. You know.
Yeah, definitely, man, definitely. You know, it's sounding really good. And in terms of your writing, I mean, I know you describe yourself. You describe yourself as in terms of a band, not you personally. Or maybe this is you personally as well. But you describe yourselves as heavy and fun. You don't look particularly heavy, but you can be fun. I know that. You personally, not the band I'm talking here. But heavy and fun. In terms of influences, I listen to the EP. I hear the Disturbed comparisons a lot because of Daniel's delivery when he does the clean baritone stuff. But I also really hear in your guitars, I keep getting Maiden. I keep getting that Adrian Smith, Dave Murray twin guitar thing that I think you guys do quite nicely without it being super obvious.
Thank you. And yeah, absolutely. Like Maiden, like that's the thing. I had to for the press release we had written for this EP. Kev wrote it from music.net.nz, and I gave him this massive long list of artists that we're influenced by, and he said, "Oh, come on, we've got to cut it down to just 3 or 4 so we don't bore people." So I squeezed it down to the modern and influences that Downfall probably sounds more like. But yeah, on that list was also all the classic stuff like Maiden, Priest, Dio, Black Sabbath. You know, that, yeah, we're all really big fans of that classic stuff. And yeah, me in particular, I love Iron Maiden. So yeah, definitely.
Definitely. All right. Now, the single Deceit, which is great, man. I mean, you listen to that off the top, and then you roll into Litany of Hate. You almost think it's 2 different bands because the contrast in the heavy definitely shifts. But I do love Deceit. I love the hookiness of it. I think it's a really cool song. You've delivered it really, really well. Some of the other stuff that you've done, I mentioned Litany of Hate. Now you've got a guest vocalist on that. What was the inspiration behind looking outside the band to get another vocal on that? Because I mean, I think there's 2 or 3 of you that do backing vocals.
To be honest, the song itself, as you say, it's an incredibly heavy shift from Deceit into that next track. And we went, well, the song's really heavy, so why not bring in someone who can do the really heavy vocal style to join in? And I mean, obviously Isaac from Pale Flag was the obvious choice because A, Pale Flag are our good mates and we gig with them all the time, and B, he's just got the most ridiculous like guttural growls. So yeah, the song was really heavy, so we brought in the really heavy guy.
Yeah. And did he have any input into the lyric writing or anything like that?
No, so the way we had that one is I actually recorded the whole song with Daniel, and then we used Daniel's takes for the bits we wanted Isaac to do as like a guide track. So I gave him the song and said, have a listen. If you like it, you can come and do some guest vocals. These are the bits we reckon it'd be cool if you could do. And then he came in and recorded those parts.
Nice. Now, I know Ben, your drummer, does quite a lot of BVs live. And when it comes to executing this song live, have you figured out who's doing what and who's going to do the Isaac parts, or are you just hoping that you're going to be playing with them so much you can just get them on stage to do it?
I think the plan for that one really is if Isaac is around, it'll be cool for him to jump on. If he gets to be at the release show, I'd absolutely be keen for him to do it there too. If that was the one and only time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if he's not there, Daniel will just roll through all of the main vocal himself. Like Ben has a bunch of backing vocals in all the songs, but he doesn't do so much in terms of lead vocal growling just because he's got to play drums and he has a habit of writing himself nice, complicated drum parts. So, he usually sticks to BVs. But
nice.
If we can get Isaac to join us, we will.
Yeah. It's interesting actually because there are the clean and growl vocals overlap a lot on that song live. So I was just thinking, on that song. So I was just thinking about how you execute that live because, I mean, I think it's all bar one of you do BVs pretty much, right? Yeah.
Pegman, our bass Goliath, is the only one that doesn't do any singing, and we've been giving him shit about that for years, but he's just not keen to pick up the microphone. So yeah, and we'll let him play bass, and he's pretty damn good at that. So yeah, with I guess the way we organize it is whoever can squeeze in a vocal, we'll get them usually to do it because we've got me and Daniel and Alex all doing cleans, and then Daniel and Alex and Puckus all able to do the growls. So got a little bit of options there in terms of who can do what.
So you got a few all-rounders in the team, which is always good.
Yeah.
Able to cover a few bases. But not you. No, you're the out-and-out clean guy.
Yeah, I don't know how to growl, so...
It's all in the diaphragm, mate. It's all in the diaphragm. Hey, when it came to writing these tracks lyrically, I know that Daniel probably writes the bulk of them, but what's been the inspiration and how much are you involved in, sort of maybe the meaning of songs or the inspiration for songs and that lyric base?
To be honest, the only thing I really do, or the rest of the band does, particularly with lyrics, is help tweak them and sort of just really polish them up. Daniel does pretty much all the lyric writing and inspiration stuff himself. So yeah, I guess I'd have to ask him for exact influences on each song and so on. He's a really strong writer. So.
Yeah, well, I was listening to Voices just before we jumped on this, and there's some parts of that are I don't know how you'd say this properly because I don't want it to come across in a cheesy way, but it's dramatic. It almost sounds like it could be, if there was a heavy metal musical, this could be part of a heavy metal musical in a way, because just some of the delivery and some of there's a spoken bit that he does where he just drops down into this really low and delivers this line. And you're like, it's something I could see Bruce Dickinson doing around the Seventh Son sort of time, It's just something different that you guys do that I don't hear too many other bands doing.
Yeah, I mean, hey, thank you. That's awesome. I love cheesy, so I'm not worried about cheesy comparisons. And I also love metal musicals. There's a project called Arion, this Dutch guy that writes amazing metal musicals. If you haven't heard it, we'll definitely check out. But yeah, I think perhaps that drama and theatrics for Daniel, he's outside of the band. He's into some rather nerdy things. He's into his magic cards, his Warhammer, and also his live action role playing. So he'll, go away for a weekend, dress up as some sort of zombie monster king and be in character and spend a weekend in character acting. So So yeah, I guess the theatrics will definitely be influenced by that. Yeah, he's an interesting dude.
Yeah, very much so, very much so. Has there ever been a conversation about bringing more of that into the band to the point that he isn't Daniel on stage, he is some, character, and that you have, I mean, maybe not quite to the Guar extreme, but sort of that kind of thing going on?
A little bit. We've done a couple of gigs, partially just because he's come straight from a LARP to a gig where he's been sort of partially in makeup and partially in costume. And I think it's really cool. I would like to continue that. Yeah, just because it looks epic.
Yeah. Given what Daniel's into, the rest of the band kind of into similar things? Or I mean, is there a fantasy bent, if you like, around the band? Is everybody kind of into that sort of stuff?
Not so much as Daniel is with the live action stuff, but I mean the other guys, other than myself, they're all quite into the gaming. So the fantasy aspect of the gaming is a theme for those guys, and I think they all game together as well, which is cool. Yeah, for me, it's I guess the only fantasy aspects I get into are the cheesy metal operas that I listen to. But yeah, those are all over the place. Some are in the distant past, some are written in space, and all this kind of thing. So,
as you say, heavy and fun. You seem to, put what you love into your music, and not be worried about being, I guess, judged for it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I find there's a lot of very very heavy music in New Zealand, and it's sort of very brutal and very extreme, but sort of lacking a little bit of the fun factor that you could groove to. So yeah, we're just trying to bring something fun and groovy that I guess if you weren't into metal per se, you could still come and see Downfall and go, oh, that was quite fun, I like that. I might not want to go and listen to the record, but just to enjoy the show, and have a good time.
Yeah, maybe at some point we can get Daniel slaying a dragon on stage, a la Dio.
That would be awesome. Ride in on a tiger, slay a dragon, and make sure your circle remains unbroken.
Indeed. All right, Bryce. Hey, listen, thanks for having a chat to us, mate. Deceit, you've done a fantastic job with that EP. I really like it. I think I think you guys have really stepped it up. This is the best thing I think that you guys have done, and I really hope that it goes well for you, and that you can push on, and it needs to be heard.
Thank you, and yeah, I look forward to people hearing it. I'm going to be trying to get it out into as many ears as possible. Hopefully, it'll be heard on the metal bar. So.
It'll definitely be heard on the metal bar. Don't you worry about that.
Awesome.